Thank you. So, good morning.
Bonjour à tous. Bonjour. Avec plus d'énergie, bonjour. Merci. Bienvenue au deuxième jour de notre conférence régionale. Nous espérons que vous avez passé une journée passionnante hier. Avant de poursuivre, commençons par la méditation de la journée et je souhaite maintenant la bienvenue à Pascal Spivide qui va nous guider à travers la méditation du jour. Bienvenue.
Thank you, Edgar. Good morning, everyone. The meditation of today will be about impact. I will address you in French, so those be prepared. Bonjour, chers frères et sœurs dans le scoutisme. Aujourd'hui, réfléchissons à l'impact de notre travail en tant que scout. Baden-Powell a été décrit comme un homme avec une vision qui est devenue une légende. De 20 garçons sur l'île de la mer de Brune à plus de 60 millions de scouts dans le monde entier. Mobilisateurs communautaires de l'Est, innovateurs de l'Ouest, ambassadeurs de la paix du Nord, champions de l'environnement du Sud. Partout dans le monde, les scouts créent un monde meilleur. Efforçons-nous tous d'apporter une contribution positive dans nos communautés respectives. Efforçons-nous tous de faire une différence, une vie à la fois, pour que dans les jours à venir, nous regardons en arrière et soyons fiers des empreintes de changement positif sur nos chemins. Je vous souhaite à tous une journée percutante. Merci.
Merci Pascal pour ces réflexions. Répartissons maintenant ce que nous avons fait hier en regardant la vidéo.
Thank you, Comms team. Those highlights truly represent a very successful.
Ces moments forts représentent une première journée vraiment réussie et j'invite maintenant Callisto à nous faire quelques annonces pratiques.
Good morning, conference.
Bonjour à tous. Bienvenue au deuxième jour de conférence. Et mon premier annonce est de mettre l'accent sur l'abri de maltraitance. Et nous avons dédié chambre 25 pour n'importe quelle consultation ou soutien dont vous avez besoin. Deuxièmement, pour ceux qui ont besoin des tests PCR avant que vous rentrez chez vous, s'il vous plaît, allez vous enregistrer et nous allons arranger comment ça va se passer. Et pour nos contributions à la durabilité environnementale, vous pouvez continuer à donner $2 pour le projet de Olive Tree. Aujourd'hui, nous vous invitons à nous rejoindre pour apprendre plus sur les services de WASM. Il y aura aussi le forum d'investisseurs de scoutisme africain et nous vous invitons, et pour ceux qui veulent nous rejoindre, pour voir ce que la Fondation a fait depuis 2018. Donc, soyez le bienvenu. Je parle aussi sur l'échéance des résolutions. S'il vous plaît, regardez la date et soumettre ce que vous avez. Et aujourd'hui, nous aurons aussi une session de vote électronique plus tard. Donc, soyez prêts à vous connecter au système de vote électronique plus tard. Merci, Calisto. Regarde cette vidéo.
Je suis Herman Kofi Pakom, des éclaireuses et éclaireurs unionistes de Côte d'Ivoire. La caravane Dialogue pour la paix fut un projet qui a eu un succès total. En réalité, l'idée nous est venue d'une triste histoire qu'a vécue la Côte d'Ivoire dans les années 2011, la crise post-électorale. Aujourd'hui, l'idée était pour nous de ne pas revivre cette histoire, était de sensibiliser les jeunes, de sensibiliser la population à adopter un langage de paix. La caravane Dialogue pour la paix s'est étendue sur 3 localités, Man, Abidjan et Korogo. Sur ces 3 étapes, nous avons rencontré les autorités de la ville pour les imprégner de la caravane Dialogue pour la paix et de parler du sujet cohésion sociale et paix. Nous avons mis le cap après sur les jeunes. Il était question de former ces jeunes sur le programme Dialogue pour la paix, sur des thématiques bien précises. Qu'est-ce que le dialogue? La résolution de conflits, les perceptions et perceptions erronées. Après, nous sommes allés au contact de la population pour les former, pour les sensibiliser, pour passer un message de paix. Nous avons installé des pancartes dans ces différentes localités, des pancartes qui véhiculent des messages de paix. Et ensuite, nous avons mis en place un réseau d'ambassadeurs de jeunes afin d'aider les différentes localités à résoudre des conflits si ces conflits devaient y arriver. Du 10 décembre au 10 janvier 2021, nous avons déployé la caravane Dialogue pour la paix sur ces 3 localités. Avec une équipe qui m'accompagnait sur l'organisation, ce fut un succès total. Frères scouts, jeunes de Côte d'Ivoire, la vie est trop courte pour qu'on se dispute. Le dialogue est une option à ne pas négliger. Tous pour la paix, pour la Côte d'Ivoire. Je suis pas comme Kofi, voilà engagé, et je suis pour le dialogue pour la paix.
Merci beaucoup, conférence. Chers participants, j'ai maintenant l'honneur d'inviter l'aide sommité du Comité africain du scoutisme.
Son of the World Scout Committee, Andy Chapman, the WASM Secretary General, Ahmed Al-Hendawi, the Chairperson of the Africa Scout Committee, Victor Atipaga, and the Regional Director, Frederick Kamakama. May I invite them to join us on stage for this exciting discussion. Welcome. Please give them a round of applause as they come. Yeah, don't stop. Keep clapping until they sit down. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes.
Good morning. Good morning. It's just morning. Good morning. Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Lidet, a member of the Africa Scout Committee, and I have the pleasure of moderating this amazing panel. With me, I have Andy Chapman, the chairperson of the World Scout Committee, Victor Atipaga, chairperson of Africa Scout Committee, Ahmed Al-Hendawi, Secretary General of the World Organization of the Scout Movement, and last but definitely not least, Frederick Kamakama, Regional Director of the Africa Scout region. Welcome. Andy, since you're next to me, the first question will come to you. At the recent World Scout Conference, national Scout organizations voted to adopt a constitutional amendment that will make safe from harm a requirement for membership. Why is this important, and what more can be done to make child and youth safety a top priority in Scouting?
Thanks, Linda. Maybe the microphones don't like me. Third time's a charm. Hello, can you hear me? Good morning, conference. Yeah, the topic of safe from harm is such a critical and important topic for all of us. Just, can I have a show of hands in the audience? How many National Scout organizations have discussed safe from harm at your board meetings, national board meetings recently? Yeah, well, give yourselves a round of applause. That's really great to see. On safe from harm, it's not really one of those nice to have things. It's a must. It's one of the most critical things that we need to do in Scouting. Every young person and adult in Scouting has a fundamental right to have a safe environment when they participate in all of our events. And as we've been discussing at the last World Scout Conference, the conference overwhelmingly approved a constitutional amendment to make safe from harm policies a requirement for all national scout organizations. And let's be honest with ourselves, we are the world's leading educational youth movement. And we've been here now for over 115 years. And if we are going to be the leader in this space, it's completely unacceptable for us to not be leading the charge in creating safe environments for all young people and all adults in Scouting. Based on the constitutional amendment that was passed, this has become a critical priority for the World Scout Committee at the world and regional levels, and obviously the national levels, with all of you making this a priority as well. But we want to take that a step further from the WASM level and the regional level, and we want to support all of you, the NSOs, through the WASM services in Safe from Harm. So if you need any support in that area, please request a WASM service in Safe from Harm, because we are here to help you. We want to help you implement safe from harm policies. We want to help you integrate safe from harm into your youth program. We want to help you make it a part of your adults in Scouting training. And most importantly, we want to make your Scouting events a safe and inclusive environment for all young people that are attending. A global level, as the leading youth educational movement in the world, we want to be the leader in this space, and we want to set the example to all other global youth-serving organizations to look to us as the shining example and as the lighthouse for what creating a safe and inclusive environment for everyone looks like. You can look on past experiences where complacent. And it's easy for us to say, well, we might not have a problem here. You know, it might not be an issue for us. But the fact of the matter is that there are bad people in this world. And those bad people will always try to take advantage of our wonderful youth-serving organizations that we deliver in all of our National Scout organizations. So for that reason, we have to be incredibly vigilant as national, regional, and world leaders to make safe from harm a priority.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Andy. And we really urge all NSOs to make safe from harm their top priority. Now, on a different topic, I pass to you, Fred. As you mentioned yesterday, this past few years during the COVID-19 pandemic have been challenging for National Scout organizations. What impact has this health crisis had on the Africa region, and what measures are being put in place to support the membership recovery, retention, and growth of our NSOs in the Africa region?
Thank you, Lidette. That's a very important question, challenging. And as we heard yesterday, I think from almost all the speakers, the pandemic has been really a very challenging time. I would say that actually exacerbating the disparities and the inequalities that we have in our societies. I think the challenge is that in most of our countries, even accessing devices like this one is a challenge. On top of that, then you have the network. That becomes also a problem, which is in most cases very, very costly. But on the other side, I think that to the credit of our scouting, we have been very innovative. And we've seen during the pandemic that we went now to scouting from home. We saw that in many of our logos. And some of our National Scout Association actually, during the pandemic, they increased the membership. And I think in this one, Kenya will be again another lead example that we can get for that. But the support that we have extended, I think has covered so many areas. And in this side, I would like really to recognize again the Africa Scout Foundation, which put money to support 16 youth-led projects in 16 National Scout Association. So, and I think one of the projects that we just watched on the video was covered also through that. And we also add Messenger of Peace supporting those initiatives. So I think the challenge of the pandemic was also a learning curve for us on how better we can be adaptive to the changing situation of the world. I think the challenge that we have and the support that we are offering to National Scout Association, now that we are seeing that we are going out of the wood, is to transition from the pandemic side to more retention and more growth in the National Scout Association. And here, I think we have many initiatives that we are supporting, and we have even a growth project. At the regional level, we have organized so many workshops, including on growth, to support that transition. And I think this is also a priority that we have put in the next triennium. We said that we are going to present the triennial plan, and we see the growth is really an important element that we are putting there. So we call upon this opportunity at the conference, the Bureau and the committee, the different work streams, to see how best we can support you in developing a program that will create young people and delivering programs that respond to the needs of the community post-pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you. That is really great to hear, Fred. And I sincerely hope our region will grow stronger and more impactful. Since we were just talking about growth, we are now closing in realizing the ambitions set out in Vision 2023, which is our current strategy for Scouting. Over the past 3 trienniums, how have we been successful in positioning Scouting as the world's leading educational youth movement? And what can we expect to see around the design of a new forward-looking future vision and strategy for Scouting?
Well, thanks, Lidette. Good morning, conference. Good morning. Come on. Huh? Can do better. Well, talk about the visions. When it comes to Vision 2023, any of you remembers or knows the vision by heart? Anyone who's ready to stand and say the vision statement, or at least the key line in that vision? What do you think is the key line? Okay, maybe 100 million? Somebody on that. So that's a good start. The vision, which was adopted in 2014, it was unprecedented for the movement. What the vision is all about, trying to help us answer a question, how we can create a better world, and how we can get the movement to be organized in a way that can deliver that. Creating a better world is a simple story. Scouting is about, this is the world as it is, and here's the world as it should be, and our task to bridge the gap between the two. So the solution that was invented in 2014, which I think is genius, said we are going to focus on 4 key things to get the movement where it needs to be. First, growth. Second, unity. Third, influence. Fourth, impact. Very simple, but extremely powerful. Take a growth, for example. What happened during the past period? Many thought, are you serious, guys? Are you going to get to 100 million? That's very difficult. Look to how we will be able to achieve by the end of this vision. We will almost be able to double the membership in the span of this vision time. That's the power of having a bold vision. That's the power of having something to chase, something to rally behind. I think that's what the vision helped us all to achieve. Look at unity. I think many in this room would agree that the movement has never been disunited, almost at all levels. We have been challenged in the past with a lot of issues, right? But I also want to seize the point around unity to ask many of my brothers and sisters at the leadership level of the National Scout organizations. Unity is not only unity between regions. Unity is not only the unity between our movements at the world level. Unity is also the unity you display at the national level. Unity is making sure that we don't have leadership crisis, that not every single election will be a problem, not the passing of power will be an issue, not holding to power too much, but empowering young people to come and also come to leadership positions. You know, one of my favorite quotes for Nelson Mandela said, and this is to all of us to remember, every single one in this room, he said, you judge your success by the success of your successor. So if you're holding to it and you don't want to pass it and you don't want to empower others, that's really not how you empower others to be. And that's the unity we want to display, and we have been able to display a great deal of it. And then comes to the influence and the impact, which we can talk about more. Now, with the success of this vision, we're looking how we actually can build on it and craft a way forward beyond the 2023. So we are focused in this triennium in delivering on Vision 2023, but my colleague Chrissy and David Berg and others will be talking about the new vision, how we are organizing ourselves to make sure to continue with this momentum. There will be an inclusive process. There will be a process that would look at engaging the National Scout organizations, hearing from young people themselves, imagining the world that we will be in 10 years from now, and how the movement can continue to be relevant and make impact. And at the same time, looking at what else we need to do to make sure this vision would come and would spark the imagination of everyone. And part of doing that is really looking at things like digital, what the digital transformation we need to have. Looking at the brand of Folsom, the brand of the movement, how to inject a new energy in our brand so it would really speak to the youthfulness and the dynamism of our movement. So I think it's incredibly important to reflect on the power of having a vision, because it allows you to start focusing on the bigger things, not to get lost in the little details. And maybe one more thing here, for the National Scout organizations in the room, one of the most encouraging things I see when I visit National Scout organizations, we were together, Andy and I, in Mexico, or when you go across the movement, and when you find how that vision is being localized nationally. So this is not only a bunch of people at the world level meeting and deciding, but has really grasped the complexity and the opportunity at the national level by translating it. So that's really, for me, what Vision 2023 and beyond is all about.
Thank you. And it is amazing to hear our movement is the world's leading youth movement, right? Yeah. No? We're not sure? Yeah. Thank you. And Victor, you're an example for us, and especially for young people in Africa. We know that you participated in the training at the Africa Scout Committee. You're the youngest chairperson ever. As we are now considering this new strategy for scouting and the future of our movement, what steps should we take to involve more young people in decision-making and creating opportunities for more diverse, equitable, and inclusive youth engagement?
Thank you, Ladette. But of course, don't forget you are the youngest ever elected member of the Africa Scout Committee. For me, the beginning of developing leadership was one of the deliberate attempts the Africa Scout region, led by the office, adapted to see how they could make young people more informed, more ready, and more engaged in the leadership process. Just like my colleagues Howard from Malawi, Marie-Louise, Nels, a lot of others I just don't want to. And that wanted to just show that that was the first generation of a deliberate attempt to engage in young people in leadership. Subsequently, we have birthed a second, a third, and recently at the forum, witnessed a fourth generation of leadership within young people. When young people are given the opportunity, we want to pay homage to many of our mentors who have given us this opportunity. Jemima from the far back, Dr. Davis, Fred sitting here from the office, and many other leaders within our NSOs who we don't know. It's just an attempt. Let's look at this scenario. Imagine each NSO leadership identifies 10 young people, just 10 in a year, to deliberately train. Let's assume that at the end of the year, 5 fall out, just like the seeds in the Bible's parable. You will still have 5 young people who will be ready in a year. Yeah. And imagine the exponential effect this can cause. It's just, we need you to become what you want us to become. And it's very important we all get this inclusively. Additionally, young people are at the heart of our movement. That is why each day we come here and we discuss all these policies and strategies aimed at making young people the center of our organization. If you can recall from the conference in Harare, 11 out of the 17 recommendations came from the Youth Forum. Even within this to the conference. And this is just a testament and a confirmation that the young people are ready. And they are making decisive steps towards being more inclusive in our leadership and in our movement. It's just for us to continue to give them the platform and try to continue to guide us as part of the global strategy looking the next triennium. We hope to reach out to communities where Scouting doesn't currently even exist, where we are able to use to all to tap into new territory, 100 million young active scouts, and also creating a very serious impact of scouting in our communities. It's just up to us to continue to define our purpose as a movement and continue to make sure that we are able to really reach out to all the corners of the globe. To at least gauge the challenges young people face in decision. Of you were able to respond to this survey. But do not forget to still take a while to really give us what challenges and how we as a movement can support young people in making sure that the right platforms, the right challenges are there. I'm not saying that comprehensively it is easy. Every NSO has its peculiar challenges because we are in a region where we need to also admit that we have cultural and structural difficulties that inhibit young people participation in leadership. So we need to take these are deliberate attempts to make sure that the movement is more youthful, it defines the purpose of a youth movement. Ledet, do you mind telling us a bit about what it means to you as a young person? I'm sorry I'm pushing the question back to you as the one leading the discussion, but to you, how did it feel?
Well, I thought I was here just... But yeah, so my journey similar to yours. I was fortunate enough to have a leader at my NSO at the time who encouraged and empowered young people and saw the potential and power of young people. And at that time, actually, we had 50% of our executive committee being composed of young people. And I was one as the international commissioner at a very early age, and I continued being guided and pushed to work hard and very much empowered. I remember in Uganda when we were celebrating you being elected as the youngest member, we were very excited, but it seemed so far-fetched, so we were just trying our luck, but then we realized in Zimbabwe we could also go younger. So that's very good for our region to realize that. So you are an inspiration to us and so many others. And it's only natural for us to continue inspiring with you and with so many other young leaders we have, like you mentioned earlier. We continue to inspire young people and young scouts in the region and beyond. If you allow me, I would like to go back to moderating. So I'll go back.
Just one more thing to add on that, if I may. All NSOs should have received an email through the Scout Pack with the Youth Engagement Survey, which is due in a few weeks. So just a good plug while I'm up here on the stage. A commercial break. If all NSOs, through your international commissioners, if you could please take a moment to complete that very simple youth engagement survey, that will really help give us data points to drive where we go from here in the future. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll pass to Ahmed. So in 2018, World Scouting launched Scouting for SDGs, a mass mobilization of young people that aim to contribute a total of 4 billion community service and billions of local action toward the Sustainable Development Goals, while tackling some of the most pressing social, economic, and environmental issues facing our planet. How close are we to realizing this goal? And speak a little to us about how World Scouting's educational initiative are now aligned with the push to achieve the SDGs.
Well, last time I checked, we're at 2.8 billion hours, all the way going to the 4 billion hour that we committed in 2018. And for me, this is beyond just the hours. I mean, it goes hopefully to doubling that target and continue working towards achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. I think this is also a way for us to communicate with everyone externally. The powerful thing about the Sustainable Development Goals, it allows us internally and externally a common language to speak to anyone, because we all now have the same reference for what we're trying to do. In my first answer, I was talking about the word as it should be. Maybe the SDGs, the word as it should be. If we achieve them, hopefully we'll get the word to the best shape possible. Now, our commitment in the SDGs was to align a lot of our work and our initiatives around one of the 17 goals. So let me today share with you something really important on what we're trying to do with the initiatives, the Better World Framework, the Scout for SDGs. And here, I want to draw a comparison between WOSM services. Now, how many of you use WOSM services? Bia, thank you. Thank you. WOSM services, do you use it?
I believe more use it.
Okay. I bet like we have the day today. Okay, let me ask one more time. WOSM services, do you use it? Good. So with WOSM services, we try to bring all the initiatives we have, all the documents, all the learnings, and structure them with the 12 different services. And that allowed to all National Scout organizations better accessibility. Now, what we're trying to do with the Better World framework, which I know many National Scout organizations have been using it, is to try to structure these initiatives in 4 key areas. In 4 key areas, 2 of them, they are available already with the Earth Tribe, our environmental education. We have the peace building with the Messengers of Peace. But we're also in development this triennium to go for Life Skills Initiative and one more in health and well-being. Now the 4 initiatives will be equally accessible to National Scout organizations, and they will all be powered with a new digital platform that would make all these content initiatives much more accessible and make the counting of hours, also sharing the experiences, the stories, more accessible to all National Scout organizations. The hope to have these initiatives all combined is part of our commitment to the SDGs. I think what we're trying to do here is make sure that any National Scout organization, and please take note of this, for any National Scout organization who wants to have an initiative that they will complement the youth program you have at the national level, you will have a video of 4 key areas that you'll be able to take and implement, that they will always be in sync with what other National Scout organizations are doing. So we have 2, we're building 2 more, and we'll bring them all together in an accessible SDG hub that is under development now. All of that together will go back to our commitment in the Scout for SDGs, because it will become an evident way how we're tracking the work we're doing around all of these sustainable development goals, showcasing the work of Scouts around the world, and making sure that we continuously update our educational offering and our community action. The last thing I would say here is these educational initiatives, combined with a digital hub, with regular update, they will also be supported with the funding instruments that we have been using with MOP and other grants. So we will align the funding in a way for National Scout organizations to be able to access funding to support their work going forward. So it's really, we're super excited about the WOSM initiatives and all the educational initiatives to be brought together in a much more accessible way to National Scout organization. And this is one of the commitments we have before the end of this triennium to deliver on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Andy, taking on Ahmed's words, the SDGs have inspired a global movement towards making our environment a healthier, more peaceful, and more sustainable place to live in. What are our plans to help make Scouting more sustainable for the future?
Thanks, Ledette. Looking back to the World Scout Conference and the World Scout Youth Forum especially, this was a clear, consistent, and urgent message from both audiences that we need to be a key leader in this space. I mean, especially you look at the Youth Forum, rightfully so. The young people know that they are the ones who will inherit this earth. They're the ones who will have to live with the future based on the actions that we take today. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm very proud of the young people for making this such a priority. Also looking to the World Scout Conference resolution on sustainability, the World Scout Committee took that to heart and made it such a priority that we formed a sustainability task force. We actually have one of the co-leads of our sustainability task forces in the back. Pia, raise your hand so you all know who Pia is if you want to ask her more about what's going on within the task force. But currently we're establishing a baseline to figure out where we are currently, and that way we know where we need to go from here. We're also utilizing the WASM's network of youth representatives to be advocates for climate action, and we've seen great stories on social media being pushed out of our youth representatives at the UN Climate Change Conference, the UN General Assembly, and many other convening organizations focused on environmental sustainability. We're also championing this cause with many of our partners through WWF, the UN Environment. As all of you see, we are active participants in Earth Hour every year, and as Ahmad mentioned, we also have educational programs specifically focused on the environment with the rollout of the Earth Tribe just in recent years. And then, last but not least, I also want to mention our world events, that we can always improve on setting the example at our world events on environmental sustainability. Obviously, we have made great strides in all of this space, but we have a long way to go to take concrete actions and implement them. So these are just a few of the ways that we're currently focusing on environmental sustainability.
Thank you. I come back to you, Fred. At the heart of Scouting is a commitment by young people, volunteers, and National Scout organizations to serve, coming together to serve their communities and foster a culture of peace and dialogue, which is completely aligned with what Ahmed was sharing with us about the Scouting for SDGs mobilization. What are some of the recent examples of peace building and humanitarian action efforts in our region that we should look into for inspiration?
Thank you very much, Lidet. If I can build on what Ahmad and Andy just said, I think one thing that I take comfort going to our website, if you don't know what our website is, scout.org, is to see the activities that the young people are doing around the world. And by the way, let me also take this opportunity to congratulate our communication team for the new and very interactive site whereby you can get inspiration on activity of the young people around the world. So scouts around the world are actually doing that, and we are working into that. In Africa, just for your information, in 2012, I don't know whether you remember 2012, what happened in Africa? Who was in Angola, 2012? I can see that there were so many in Angola. So in Angola, at the conference, Africa Regional Conference, we took a decision as a resolution that we are committing, pledging to sustainable development. And by that time, we were not even talking about sustainable development, we were talking about Millennium Goals, if you can remember that time. But Scouts being innovative, we were already thinking ahead. We were thinking ahead, and that's the decision that we made into that. And in action, the region has been supporting activities. And I think some of the examples that we just heard about the young people, the activities that young people are doing in terms of environment, I would say like in Kenya, we know what we call Petite Marie with the conservation project into that. But more so in countries like DRC, whereby you can see that Scouts are leading peace processes. DRC, you know, is a country pledged in war currently that we are working to support that. We are also working in terms of disaster support. If you're looking into this year, I think we have friends here from Madagascar, Zimbabwe, Malawi, that we supported through, I think also partly Mauritius through the cyclone effort for region. So we have been really supporting activities to make sure that not only young people, but Scouts is helpful to the community. And if I may say, you know that in Africa we have the flagship project that we are calling Food for Life. That is also contribution to nutrition. And now that we have also adopted a project that was transformed in Asia Pacific, that we are implementing, the Ticket to Life project in Africa. So there are many initiatives that we are doing to support and also to contribute to SDGs. But one, maybe just last point, we just signed a partnership with Africa for SDG, and you saw the director was here as part of the panel that we had yesterday. So we are calling to National Scout Association, let's work together and let's approach our partners. Andy talked about WWF, but we have many partners. We have UNICEF, we have other partners that we are working with so that we can respond and make our contribution to SDGs. And don't forget, we have the program Scout for SDGs. Thank you.
Thank you. We really hope to continue seeing the impact of scouting in contributing to SDGs, as this is the global youth force and the largest youth movement we have. Victor, last question to you. Having been in the Africa Scout Committee for the past almost 7 years, what do you see as the biggest challenge and opportunity for our region?
Wow, challenges. 7 years has been good, not in the sense of staying longer than our mandate, but in the sense that it has also given us an opportunity to appreciate many of the difficulties the region has faced. I would just want to take it from the summary of Fred, Ahmad, and Andy, just to talk about social impact. One of the difficulties we have faced as a region is that we do not share what we do. There are a lot of incredible stories going on in Africa, but we don't see it, we don't hear of it, and then it would have an effect on the kind of image and impact we want people to know of Scouting. Scouting is an incredible movement. That is why, first of all, we are all here. And if we are here, we need to be able to share and tell the story to the most remotest sites, the most remotest communities, because it has advantages. It gives us a better brand, it gives us an opportunity to grow our membership, and it gives us a status that gives purpose for the future. So I would want to urge national scout organizations here that each year, let us be able to hear from you in terms of the yearly or annual reporting, give us census, and also quarterly and frequently share your stories with us. Of course, Fred just mentioned that we have an incredible website that gives us the opportunity to showcase what we do. Let us use the opportunity of this landscape to tell the story and also help our Africa Scout Foundation brand the stories to be able to market us in a good way. Another difficulty we have faced is that leadership has been one of our most difficult moments. We have had the opportunity as leaders in the region, Fred and I, and some of the consultants, to travel to many of our NSOs. And we can always assume that leadership is one of the most difficult moments for us. Leadership is very important because it's the bedrock for which the organization thrives. If the leadership is not strong enough, the program won't be implemented. If the program is not implemented, the young people will not benefit. If the young people do not benefit, others will not even know what we are doing. And then where lies Scouting? There's a vast potential for Scouting to grow in Africa. We have the biggest, youngest population. We only need to make sure that we tap into it. Another difficulty with leadership is that our leadership in Africa, unfortunately, is not transitional, in the sense that I am the chief commissioner of my association. I have a group of friends who serve with me as national executive commissioners or part of the team. There's no problem with that. But how credible or how reliable are they to take over leadership when the head leaves? The head leaves and the whole association dies. I'm sorry I am a bit blunt with this, but this is the reality of our situation. And that becomes a difficulty for many of our NSOs to really strive, because then there's no quality program and no one benefits Scouting in the region. It's very important that our leadership is strong, it is opportunistic, it gives people the platform to grow and begin to build a very strong structure that would last Scouting. Every time I talk with Fred and we are on missions, sometimes people, maybe he doesn't want me to share it, but people ask like, why do we keep moving? Is the office functioning? But many of you can confirm and attest that the office has been much more effective even in the absence of Fred. The head of a team does not necessarily need to sit in the office to get work done. It is how strong the team is. You mentioned a quote about Mandela just a few minutes ago, and I saw that many of my friends were nodding to accept and to confirm that. Maybe you may have to repeat the statement just for me to use it.
What's that? Okay. You judge your success by the success of your successor, the person who will come after you. So if you don't hand it over better than you found it to him or her, then you haven't done your job well. And I think sometimes we have to keep that as our mission. First, not to hold it forever, because that's what we learn. Second, by making sure to pass it on stronger.
Yes, so that is... So I will just sum up with what SG has just said, let's reflect on that statement. Let us go back to our NSOs. Let us work together, and let us not hold on to power, but give opportunity for others to take over the leadership of our situation, and then we will be able to reach what our purpose for Scouting is. Thank you.
We'll take the last words as an assignment to all NSOs. Thank you all panelists for this wonderful and insightful discussion. Please give them a round of applause.
Thank you, Ledette. Thank you, panel. As they exit the stage, please give a better round of applause for them. Thank you all for being such an inspiration, and thanks for honoring the 18th Africa Scout Conference with your presence. We encourage you, our NSOs, to please continue interacting with them during the breakout sessions, during the marketplace, even as we're having lunch and coffee breaks, so that they can share with you more about their experience in scouting and possibly inspire you. Dear conference, as you are aware, the strategy for scouting adopted at the World Scout Conference in Slovenia comes to an end in 2023. It is time for us to reflect and engage in the process of developing the next strategy for scouting. To lead us through this, I would like to invite Chrissy Polly, member of the World Scout Committee, and the Chief Operating Officer, David Budge, to give us some insights on this. Welcome on stage.
Oh, and with us, we brought Ledette. We thought more friends, more fun on stage. Dear conference, good morning, and thank you, my appreciation to the panel we just had, because I think there is few better ways to lay out what comes next for the region than just hearing the full overview, the bird's eye view of what comes next. Conference, are you ready to dive into one of the details, the next strategy for scouting with us together? Yes, okay. Then, as per your request, we shall. My name is Chrissy. With me on stage, we have Ledette, we have David, and we will be speaking in English just in case you were wondering. Now, Ahmad already very nicely summarized what a strategy is and what it does. It looks at where you are and what is. It looks at where you could be and what should be, and the strategy is how you get there. Now, in the context of our little session today, we will be speaking about the next strategy for scouting. We'll be looking back, we will be looking in the future, and how all of these things interface. If we can go to the next slide, I have a challenge for you. This will be a participatory session, and I encourage you to get your mobile devices ready. Okay. Please go on your browser to menti.com and use the code you can see on the screen. We will be asking you in a few minutes to share your thoughts, your observations, and your insights as part of our conversation. The code will be displayed at one of our next slides as well. I will be giving you a few seconds to get your mobile devices ready so you can start getting those things in the browser. Great, then we can move on to the next slide. Now, conference, give me a show of hands. Who of you has a full and busy to-do list? In scouting, in your family, in your work life, who has a lot on their plate? Give me a show of hands. Okay, we have some very busy people in the front, some very busy people, oh, okay, over here. Very good. Now give me a second show of hands. Who of you sometimes wonders where to start? With all of the many to-dos and opportunities, where do you really start? Who wonders that? I know that I do. Oh, we see some stuff here. Okay, here. I think that is a very natural and very human feeling. And there are so many opportunities that we can take and so many choices we make every day that it's easy to get lost in the details. It's easy to get very reactive and to start losing sight of, in 15, 20 years, what will you be proud of? So This is what a strategy does. When faced with a choice of what to do or what to do first, a strategy is a will it matter filter. A will it matter filter in the sense of, will it matter what I spend on my energy today? Will it matter in 10 to 15 years? Will the choices we make today allow us to be proud of what we have achieved in 10 to 15 years? Will what we are spending our energy on matter? Will we look towards the same future? And are we wise in how we plant the seeds of our time, our money, and our passion? And this is a volunteer-led and staff-supported movement, so our passion really is a key factor here. Now, a strategy is not a triennial plan, and for good reason. It must span generations of leadership, so we can all ask ourselves this question, and circling back to the quote that has been very popular here today, to judge the success of our successors. Now, in Scouting, we have done this before. We have Vision 2023. So before we take a look at what comes after the next vision, let's take a little journey and a little walk down memory lane of how we came about to work with the vision strategy we currently have. David, will you walk us through?
Does this work? Yeah. Okay. Hello, Africa. So happy to be back. So, Vision 2023. Who of you was in Slovenia at the World Scout Conference in this big hall? Like, raise your hands. Okay. Yeah. Still some. Okay. So, in Slovenia, the World Scout Conference, 160-something member organizations at the time, approved a new strategy for Scouting. A new dream where we wanted Scouting to be by, we called it 2023. That was, at the time, 3 triennia after the Slovenia conference. Now you know, like, we had this little pandemic, so now it's 2024. But still, like, it was our dream, like, where we wanted to be. And, I mean, when Ahmed asked earlier, like, what do you remember? You all remember the 100 million. So one of our dreams was to grow this movement significantly. Like, to really bring Scouting to more young people. We wanted also, I mean, we say, like, we are the biggest youth movement, right? We all say that, right? That's what we are, like, proud of ourselves. But when we set out for Vision 2023, we also wanted to be recognized like that. We wanted our influence to increase. It's one thing that all of us in this room say, like, yeah, we're great. It's another thing that the world around us is like, yeah, the Scouts, like, they need to be around the table when we discuss education, when we discuss around the future of young people. So we wanted to grow our influence. We also wanted to strengthen and to continue to have innovative youth programs, that the educational offering we bring to young people around the world speaks to the reality and the interest they have. We wanted to strengthen the impact we have. And finally, this was approved in 2014. This came after a couple of, like, difficult years for WUSM, discussions around the location of the office, some problems even before that. So at the time we felt it really important that we left that behind us and worked towards a united movement. So unity was the fourth component of that vision. So that's the road we start to travel in 2014. Now, those are like nice words on a slide or nice words on a poster. So let's do a check here in the room, like, what it actually meant for you. So if we go to the next slide, if you have the Menti on your phone, you'll see a question on your phone, and I'd like you to put in a word or 2 words or 3 words, like, how do you feel Vision 2023 has impacted Scouting in your country? This strategy that we approved, that we set off on more unity, more growth, more impact, more influence, what did it do in your country? In 1, 2, or 3 words, like, what did you feel? Did it make a difference or not? Shall we switch to the Menti screen? We have, oh wow, this feels like, this is very fancy, huh? Like technology, yeah. So, I see inspiration there. Lidette, did the strategy for Scouting inspire you? Like, does that relate to you?
It inspires, but it also challenges you to get somewhere.
And I see also like positivity. Chrissy, does that like relate to you?
Yeah, I think it does. I think this is about having a common direction and getting that positive energy that really gets you there.
Yeah. And then it goes very fast here, but I see quality like flying around. And I think quality, like if I reflect like on what we did with the vision, it's like it provided a more, I mean, we questioned ourselves more. Like, is what we're doing, like, does it make a difference in impact? Like, we became, I think, more data-driven over the years. We looked more at surveys, at evaluations. We asked more to all of you, and it's also like, do you really feel this is the right way? Something else that one of you picks up from the Menti on the screen?
I saw direction.
Direction, yeah. In the terms that it provided focus for us. Like, it's one thing to do the day-to-day, and I think that was what Chrissy was relating to earlier. Like, you wake up in the morning and what should I do? And you just take like, yeah, whatever looks like the most urgent. I think Vision 2023 also provided all of us like with a clear focus and direction, like this is, at the end, if we need to prioritize, this is what we need to focus on, what will make the biggest difference for more impact, more influence, more unity. All right, that looks very nice. We'll take a screenshot of that, add it to the conference report. But let's have a look at the next slide and move from here. And that's what we've done so far, and what brought us here and what Vision 2023 did for us. So now let's look at how we go towards the next strategy for Scouting, because 2023 is around the corner. So, Chrissy, back to you.
Thank you, David. And I must admit it's quite easy to get lost in the dazzle of a new strategy for Scouting. But let's be very clear, our job here is not done. This is great, this is fantastic, this is what a strategy must do, but we have one more year to achieve the very ambitious objectives that we set in the strategy. So let's focus when there is time to focus and deliver when it's time to deliver. So what it does also mean is that we need to start preparing for what comes after. Vision 2023 is running out, and this is an exciting time for our movement really to take the opportunity before us to shape, again, connected futures between NSOs, between regions, between young people, and across the Scout movement. And what we're really doing is we are putting together a blueprint for the next 10 or 15 years. And this is a moment that I want us all to appreciate. You don't get that opportunity every day. You get it every 10, every 15 years. So let's appreciate that we will be able to be part of this process. Now, we all still feel, next slide, the impacts of the pandemic. It's following us into this room, it's following us with COVID tests and restrictions and the way this is impacting Scouting at a grassroots level. We understand and we appreciate that it's not easy to start the process of long-term planning when you still have so much insecurity and accelerated change and uncertainty around you. That's why we're all in this together. Together we will take stock of where we are, how Vision 2023 has delivered us to a better place than when we were starting in Slovenia in 2014, and then together we will chart what makes sense and what's going to make a difference to NSOs and to young people specifically. Not empty words, but full words of energy. Now, in the Africa Scout region, I imagine that is also quite an exciting moment and an opportunity to use the next strategy for Scouting as forward motion. Right, Lidette?
Definitely. Yeah, and later today we'll also hear about the regional triennial plan of 2022-2025. And while we work to attain that triennial plan, it's also important to know where we are, where we're heading, what we've achieved with Vision 2023, and how Scouting can stay relevant in this ever-evolving, ever-changing world, while taking account of what the youth of the future actually need and expect from the changing world and Scouting in general. Next slide.
So, we put a team together for this endeavor to create a new strategy for Scouting. And I think, I mean, this is the front guard, but all of you, all 172 National Scout organizations are part of the team. you, the leadership of these, like as Chrissy said, it's only once every 10, 15 years we have an opportunity to chart like a long-term future, to dream where we want Scouting to be. So this is exciting for all of us, because not every generation of leadership in Scouting gets this opportunity. Now, to help all of us to bring that focus where we want Scouting to go, we pulled a team together from across the regions. I have the honor to lead that team together with Jo de Man, the Vice Chair of the World Scout Committee. We also have several members of the World Scout Committee as representatives on that team. We have Ledette and Aisha from the Asia-Pacific region, who particularly provide a perspective from the regions in the development of the new strategy. You want to say anything around that, Ledette, like how the importance of the regions in the strategic planning process?
Sure, yeah. So having the involvement of all these partners helps on having the input from the different aspects, the different perspectives. So with the regional team, we bring information and moving forward strategies from our region. We're divided into different work streams where we have where it gives us moments to come back to the region, consult, and come back and discuss with the team here.
All right. Thank you, Ledette. And we also recruited a number of WUSM volunteers in the process. Now, you see there's a guy there like who has a red uniform. There's not many people with a red uniform, but I have good news for you. There's one such in the room, like maybe you can stand up. Like, this is Mo, part of the strategy group. Give him a big round of applause. He's not only here because we have this presentation on the strategy, because he's also the chairperson of the planning team of the next World Scouts conference in Cairo, Egypt. We also have, you see, like we have the word external there, and that might be two people you don't know. These are Irem and Andy, and they come from outside of the movement. They might know Scouting like from outside, but they're not NSO leadership, they're not volunteers, and we on purpose added two people to push us out of the box. To, like, with Scouting we like to be inside in our cozy bubble, and we're great and we're the best movement. We thought it would be good as we chart the future to challenge us a bit, to see like what is the world around us doing, and to have some critical friends with us. So that's what Irem, who works for a UN agency, and Andy, who's a former CEO of General Motors divisions. So they both look at this from a UN perspective and the corporate perspective at our strategy planning process. Then we have staff support, and so you see we have two Africans on this team. We have both Ledette and we have Millie, who you all well know, supporting this process as well. So that's the team. So let's shift to how we're actually going to make this happen, right?
Okay. So the development of the strategy for Scouting is designed in 5 different phases. During the first phase, we have the appointment of teams, which David has just covered for us. We also focus on the contextual factors to help understand what the future would look like from multiple perspectives. We use 2 research methods, one led by researchers focusing on the WUSM, and other consultation from global NGOs to help us gather trends, expectations, and the needs of young people of the future. Then, following the research phase, strategic framework and strategic priorities will be developed, and a goal will be provided. We will have engagements in this phase to build on high-level elements, and by July 2023, we will have the first draft of the strategy for Scouting. Then we move on to the third phase, where feedback on draft will be gathered from different stakeholders through events and gatherings. We will assess the strategic fit of the proposal. So here is where we would ask whether or not we're responding to the challenge identified, or if there are things that we've missed and we need to go back and revise. At this phase, engagements from NSOs will also be highly crucial because we know NSO leadership will be the primary leading or driving force of the implementation. Monitoring and evaluation framework for the implementation process will be developed. Then it will be the start of the World Triennial Plan for 2024-2017 work.
Now, okay, that's some excitement, okay, for the first 3 phases. Now you're going to go wild when you hear there's 2 more. Thank you. There's going to be number 4, an approval phase. 1 to serve as an end milestone for Vision 2023. I hear some of you in this room like a good party, and I think we all deserve one when we have delivered on Vision 2023, so that's important. But then approving what comes after, we will do that at the World Scout Conference. And once that has been settled, there is going to be an implementation phase. We're going to roll out whatever you need in your NSO and in the region to really implement the strategy. And we're going to ensure that there is alignment with the regions, with how the plans are going to be, and everything that we need in order to really get this on the road. Now, as an NSO, you might be wondering, well, at what point specifically can I be involved? So, David and Lidette, could you shed some light on that?
Okay, so for example, recommending candidates for our focus group is one of it. We do have one call that was sent out just a couple of days ago, so please recommend candidates, young people, local leaders, national leaders. Also, if we could go to the next slide. You may also have within your NSOs individuals that are interested and capable of assisting with the research. So please have them volunteer if they're willing and help them contribute to the research phase of the strategy for scouting.
Yeah, and then regional conferences like this are an opportunity for you to engage. We'll also be running a breakout on the strategy for scouting tomorrow. So if you want to give like your early take on what we should focus and what you like and don't like in our process, tomorrow is an excellent opportunity to let us know your thoughts. And we'll continue doing a tour of key regional events over the next 2 years. We're also going to have a global online conversation with young people. So this will be something we'll be launching in September, October, so you get information for that as national leadership. And we're going to have an online platform where scouts from around the world, young people, can say what they think scouting should do and should achieve in the next 10 years for them, and what they feel are the key trends, the key needs they have over the next 10 years. So I think like to follow the strategy process, you see it's a process over the next 2 years. Watch Scout.org, watch our communication channels, because we'll be pushing out regularly information and asking you, does this seem right? Because in the end, this will only work if you agree with it, if you feel like this is what scouting should focus on for the next 10 years. If you as national leadership do not believe that this is where we should go, it will not work. So we need your views. So follow the communication channels. If you see something you don't like, let us know as soon as possible. And finally, the final opportunity you will have is at the World Scout Conference. This whole thing will go up to vote. So that's the moment you will be able to do like the final tweaks and say like, yeah, this is great, but just this little amendment or this little nuance, that you will be able to do in the final phase. All right, so that's how you can be engaged. We'll hope to see you tomorrow as well in the breakout group. So Chrissy, to you to wrap it up here.
Absolutely. That was a lot of slides, and you will be able to read up on all of these. So if there is one thing we want you to take away from this input, it's the following. Scouting has been what scouting is today for the past 115 years because we did one thing very well. We listened to the needs of young people, and we adapted our programs, our structures, and our delivery according to it. Now we are at a point in time again where we must do the same, bring together tradition and innovation, and it falls on our shoulders to take on this responsibility. So please be engaged, follow the information coming out, be active in the process, and then I'm very confident that we will end up with an amazing and insightful and inspiring next strategy. All three of us will be around, more will be around, so please do not hesitate to reach out with questions, and we're looking forward to seeing many of you in the breakout. Thank you so much.
Chrissy, Ledette, David, thank you so much for the presentation. Exciting. This is our future and where we are headed, and we appreciate. Let us all remember to take some time to engage them during the breakout sessions, during the marketplace, or when you corner them somewhere with a coffee, and you can understand more about the strategy for scouting. Conference, at this point, I would like us to recognize the presence of South Sudan finally. They have arrived. A round of applause for them. That officially makes us 38 member organizations out of 40 present here, and in the voting system you realize we are 39 because one member organization has given a proxy, so we are almost a full conference. I think that deserves a round of applause. Also, at this time, I would like us to recognize the presence of Mr. Sekou Omar Coulibaly, Director National Center for Promotion of Voluntarism in Mali, which is under the Ministry of Youth and Sports Affairs. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. We remember Mali is also in the room. They are not officially one of us as an NSO, but they are working towards that, and this only pushes that further. We want to grow. We welcome you, sir. Dear conference, I now have the honor to invite Jonathan and Ledette to present the draft triennial plan to the conference. I think today Ledette should just hang around here. Welcome. Let's give them a round of applause as they come.
It looks like I want to get it out of the way in the morning, yeah.
Hi, Ledette.
Hi, Jonathan.
We are here. You want us to go with it? So we'll present you with the draft plan for the Africa region for the year 2022 to 2025. So hoping that you have already interacted with this plan because we have shared it and you already contributed in it. So for this session, we just want you to get some of the key highlights in the plan.
Okay, so here we have the process of how we are planning the Triennial Plan 2022-2025. So the first, with any research, it's the needs assessment. So there was a needs collection that was done through high engagement of National Scout organizations. Then we had to go back and evaluate the 2018-2021 Triennial Plan, while also reviewing and looking at the Triennial Plan, the World Triennial Plan of 2021-2024. Then we go to the consultation phase, where we also once again have high engagement of National Scout organizations, work streams, consultants, and the Africa Scout Committee. Then it's the draft of the first draft of the Triennial Plan. Here there's a lot of work that goes into reviewing it, getting feedback again from the Africa Scout Committee, which then led to the second draft of the Triennial Plan. After the second draft, we will also have engagement from National Scout organizations through the different techniques, the different work streams, but also it is, as it is being presented now, will be presented to the conference, and inputs and outcomes from the conference will be included to have the final Triennial Plan.
Sure. So I think just to highlight that this particular time for the process, we had in the recent past the most number of NSOs participating in the giving of inputs. So looking at the next triennium, what are some of our key areas of focus? We have 6 areas that we'll be focusing on in the next triennium. One of those areas is educational methods, and we'll be delving deeper into this in the next slides. Another area is on governance, that is good governance. We'll also have a key focus on safe from harm, communications and partnerships, sustainability, and finally, growth and pandemic recovery. So looking at this particular triennium, we'll deliver this plan with a number of work streams, and as already explained by Ledette in the previous presentation, these are teams of volunteers with key competencies in different areas that help the Africa Scout Committee in achieving whatever goals are set in the plan. So we'll also have 6 work streams, and very soon after this conference, there will be an open call for members to apply to these work streams. So we'll have a work stream on educational methods, we'll have a work stream on youth engagement, we'll have a work stream on good governance and NSO support. There'll be a work stream on communications and strategic partnerships. We'll have a work stream on resource mobilization. And finally, there'll be a work stream on growth and pandemic recovery. So let's look at what are some of the goals in the triennium. In the area of educational methods, and in the educational methods, we have 2 main components. We have a youth program and others in scouting. So starting with the youth program, one of our key focuses areas will be on improved quality of educational programs. We have learned from experience and also looking at the pandemic and post-pandemic period that it calls upon us to really work on programs that are adaptable, programs that are really attractive to young people but also meet the needs of the current youth and the current communities. We'll also be looking at pushing forward a vibrant Scouts for SDGs initiatives at local levels and national communities. Ultimately, our purpose is impact in the community. So we really want to see that we improve on this impact through youth program. We'll also want to focus on social impact based on evidence-based programming. We want to see pretty much what is the contribution the Scout program is giving in the NSOs and in the communities, and this can only be done through a number of social research. So we really will be focusing on evidence-based programming. And finally, if you go to the different NSOs, one of our areas that we have not really utilized properly are our Scout camps and centers. So we also want to focus on how do we make these Scout camps and centers as not just centers of excellence in terms of nature and environment, but centers that can really be used to promote and activate and enhance the youth program. In the areas of adults in scouting, one of the things or one of the efforts we have had in this particular triennium is supporting the adults in scouting life cycle management. We want to focus on this. So, and the other thing for us is how do we have an integrated approach? I know with the experiences of different NSOs, you find that either the teams in youth program and the teams in adult scouting operate separately. But really we want an integrated approach whereby whatever the young people are focusing on or the people in youth program are focusing on, we also have the adults responding to the needs of young people through having not just adults committees or youth program committees, but more also educational methods committees. Of course, we also want to develop strategies to help in addressing needs of young people in the communities. And this can only be done through bringing forward new, not just training techniques, but also improving on how we approach program delivery. And finally, the key area of focus under this will be the recognition of adults. Adults, whether these are volunteers or paid staff, give a lot to the movement. And one of the ways of really motivating these volunteers is through having robust recognition systems at national and even regional levels. So one of the highlights we're looking at is NSOs really revitalizing for those who have this area of recognition of adults. What do we have in the area of safe from harm today?
So with safe from harm, as it was discussed earlier during the World Scout Conference, national Scout organizations have voted that constitutional amendment for safe from harm. So we would like to ensure the attainment of the safe from harm compliance of the policy, strengthen the safe from harm culture across all National Scout organizations through education of its leaders, young people and adults. And we will also strengthen the implementation of safe from harm culture in all our scouting events. So when we come to youth engagement, we would like to strengthen meaningful youth leadership, not just the leadership, but meaningful youth leadership and engagement through support to NSOs to develop and implement youth engagement at all levels of the movement. As we've heard from the report from the Youth Forum, and as been discussed amongst the observers and adults who attended the Youth Forum, there has been a great level of improvement of the quality of the forum throughout each triennium. So we want to keep that going, but also increase the level of participation and the quality of these activities, and equip the young people with capacity to take their role in the youth leadership and spearhead youth-led initiatives.
Okay, and we talk about quality scouting events. One of the lessons we have learned in the past is that we do a lot of events in scouting, whether it is at the local group level, national level, or even at the regional level. One of the critical components for us is how do we really make these scouting events have quality and really contribute to the development of young people in helping them achieve whatever educational goals they have for themselves or developmental goals. So one of the areas we want to focus on is increased access for more young people to participate in these events. I remember yesterday when Nelson was presenting about the triennial report and just giving the experience of the first virtual Africa Scout Jamboree that had over 150,000 young people accessing just simply because it was provided virtually. So one of the things is increased access, not just to those young people who can be able to afford, but also young people who may otherwise not be able to attend these events. Improved and quality participation in events, whether this is at regional level or global level. How do we as NSOs really prepare, let's say for example, jamborees, prepare our young people to participate and get the best experiences out of these events? So that's critical for us. Definitely for the host of future events, we want to offer that support so that as you host the future events, you're really prepared to enhance the quality, but also ensure that whoever comes for these events gets the best experiences. Of course, and also learning from the experience, we also want to really leverage on digital technologies to ensure that we expand and enhance the quality of our events. So in the area of diversity and inclusion, how do we take scouting to where it has never been before? So how do we reach out to the vulnerable? How do we expand scouting? For example, we have some NSOs that have really reached out to, let's say, scouts in refugee camps, scouts in what we call postal institutions like the prisons. So how do we really expand our market share of scouting in Africa? And we can only expand this by, first of all, enhancing growth at whatever our main catchment area is, whether it is in schools or communities, but more ultimately reaching out to those areas that we have not ventured into. Of course, we also want to support to diversify our membership at all levels. Humanitarian action. Again, as we reported yesterday, that in the past triennium, we have had situations of disasters happening in different areas of our region. So for us, what is more critical is how do we prepare our NSOs to better respond to these disasters, and also contribute with other stakeholders in ensuring that we reduce the impact. So key to us will be how do NSOs develop disaster preparedness initiatives, but also contingency plans.
Okay, thank you.
How about governance?
Here we focus on strengthening capacities of NSOs. So we identify our National Scout organization's capacities through GSAT assessment, provide support with induction to leadership, and support with strategic planning. We also support implementation of the WASM services in the region. In this step, it's also important to provide support to ensure sustainability of our National Scout organizations.
So, looking at growth and post-pandemic recovery, we have different focus areas under this. One of those areas is growth. A key area of focus here for us will be how do we support NSOs in the post-pandemic recovery efforts. Of course, a lot has been done now, and we have good examples of NSOs who have really engaged their communities, but we all acknowledge that COVID pandemic disrupted the way we do things. So this is a continuous process. How do we strengthen our structures, systems, and processes that were weakened because of COVID? Promotion of emergency response, and also targeted outreach to those areas and communities that are really affected.
Okay. While empowering youth to take part in social impact is great, it is also important and very vital that we equip them with the necessary capacity. So it could be through project management, through skill development, and also providing resources and best practices. We also aim to provide monitoring and evaluation tools to help assess the impact of SCOUT programs, and also provide improved method of sharing stories of SCOUT impacts through the regions and, of course, outside of the region as well.
Looking at our grant processes, key for us here is how do we have quality submission of projects, but also quality grant management systems. Key on this is accountability, but also capacities of different stakeholders in our projects, but also how do we use scouting to promote the culture of peace. Yeah, so this is critical for us in enhancing our impact for this training. And of course, one of our key areas again will be on communications and partnerships. Focus on visibility. Yeah, I think it has just been mentioned here that we are really a big movement, yeah. But how do we really enhance our visibility, but also recognition of the work we do? So this can only be done if we develop both our internal and external communication processes and strategies. How do we develop strategic partnerships? Of course, again, we cannot do this alone, as has been highlighted. So how do we bring in others who share the same goals with us, so that we have strategic partners we can work together with? As you can see from this conference, we have had many partners coming in that share the same vision. So how do we really leverage on this at all levels? As NSOs, even NSO to NSO, but also local partners is critical for us. Also positioning scouting as that influential movement that is really impacting and influencing policies across Africa. But also we want to develop through these partnerships, a resilient and financially sustainable region and national scout organizations. We can only grow if we are sustainable.
Okay, after all of this, we come to the best parts of this, which is after getting the inputs and outcomes from this conference, which we are looking forward to, the final triennial plan for 2022-2025 will be developed. Then the Africa Scout Committee will review and endorse the plan. Then we'll have publication and dissemination process, which will then bring us to the best part that we can all be involved in and look forward to, which is implementation.
So that's just a glimpse of the plan we have. Definitely through your contributions and looking at the number of partners that contributed in this. Of course, we have the youth advisors to the Africa Scout Committee. We have the Africa Scout Committee. We have the World Scout Committee. We have the different work streams, the World Scout Bureau, different partners, WASM consultants, and wait for it, most importantly, the NSOs, and that's you. So thank you so much for your contribution to the plan. And, the journey has just started, the work has just started, but looking forward to the next triennium, it's already appearing very exciting, but also we have really some challenging steps for us to go, and we can only do this together in a creative way as a more united Africa. So thank you so much. Let's look forward to the next triennium. Merci beaucoup.
It is impressive to learn that there are so many ambitions in the Africa region in this coming triennium, and we are all coming together to contribute to the crafting of this plan and how we are going to look at it in the future. We will now shift to the voting session to adopt our regional triennial plan. Remember, as we were starting this session, you were asked to start the logging process. I hope heads of delegations have started doing that so that we can be able to move forward. Please ensure that as a head of delegation, you have already logged in to the e-voting system on vote.scout.org, or please refresh your browser if you have logged in earlier, just to ensure that you are good. Remember that you can raise your country card if you are experiencing a challenge at the moment. I would be keen on somebody supporting South Sudan if there is any issue. If they're good, we will continue. As that is happening, conference, we will watch a short video that will remind everyone how to cast your votes for simple motions.
Tutorial for World Scouting e-voting system. Here are the steps of how a delegation can cast their vote for simple motions. Log in to the e-voting system at vote.scout.org and access the relevant event to be ready to cast your vote. When a vote is activated, it will show on the left side of the screen under the active vote header. It will include the progress bar, timer and voter turnout. As quorum is determined at the beginning of the event, the voter turnout serves as an indication of those delegations that decided to practice their right to vote. Click on the active vote. The details of the selected vote will appear on the right side of your screen with the options available for casting your vote. As this is a simple motion, your vote options are in favor, against or abstain. Select your desired option to cast all your votes together. Depending on the rules of procedure of the event and the type of vote, you will have a different number of votes to cast. If the option to split your vote is allowed, click on the split vote toggle to enable the function. Then allocate your vote across the desired vote options. Depending on the size of your browser, the split vote will appear as a drop-down selection, or a row with easy select options from 0 to the amount of votes you can give per option. You can select or unselect each vote allocation by clicking. Carefully review your vote allocation is correct. Note that once you have cast your vote, no further changes can be made. Confirm your vote by clicking the Confirm Vote button. As a precaution, the Confirm Vote button will only be active when you have met the requirements of the vote in accordance with the rules of procedure. This can either be needing to cast all, or only some of your votes. A confirmation message that your vote has been submitted will appear. You are unable to change your vote once it is confirmed. When the vote is closed, if it was a public vote, the results will appear and you can see the overall results of the vote, plus how your delegation voted. It won't be the case for secret votes. For motions requiring...
Conference, as the video continues, remember if you have a challenge, please raise your country card and someone will come.
50% of the votes cast in favor. For motions requiring a 2/3 majority, the vote is carried with 2/3 or more of votes cast in favor.
Conference, anyone experiencing a challenge, please raise your country card and someone will come to you. If you do wish to practice your right to vote in this session and you're still experiencing a challenge, please raise your country card so that our floor managers can assist with that. If you're already logged in, remember to refresh the browser so that you are current. And as of what we were doing yesterday, everybody who is not logging in at the moment, please, you are requested to log out of the Wi-Fi so that we are able to do the voting process quickly and efficiently. After the vote, you can log back in. This will take only a few minutes, so you will not be inconvenienced. Ensure you have refreshed your browser and that your presence in the system is ensured. Okay, I am looking one more time to see if there's anyone who needs assistance before we proceed on the vote. No country cards up. Côte d'Ivoire need assistance. Can I have somebody with them? Any other country that requires some support?
This is a tutorial for the World Scouting's e-voting system. How to access the e-voting system. To access the e-voting system after creating your account, go to vote.scout.org. The system is accessed on this unique online platform, separate from the platform of the event you are participating in. We recommend that you bookmark this page, or add to favorites for easy access throughout the event. Delegates with voting credentials can log in with their registered email address and use the personalized password set when creating their account. Note that the link provided in the invitation email will expire once you have activated your account. If you forgot your password or wish to change it, click on the Forgot Password link below the Login button. Once logged in, access the relevant event which you have
Just keen to see if there is still a country that requires help. Any country that requires assistance. Côte d'Ivoire, I hope you've been assisted and we are now okay. Any other country, please raise your country card if you do wish to vote in this session and you're not yet okay. Please raise your country card. I'm taking a quick scan to see if there is anyone. There being none, None requiring assistance at the moment. I would ask the voting team to confirm if all is in order and if you are ready to proceed with sufficient presence in the system. Let's give them just a few more minutes.
This is a tutorial for World Scouting e-voting system. It will show on the left side of the screen under the active vote header. It will include the progress bar, timer and voter turnout. Select or unselect each vote allocation by clicking. Carefully review your vote allocation is correct. Note that once you have cast your vote, no further changes can be made. Confirm your vote by clicking the Confirm Vote button. As a precaution, the Confirm Vote button will only be active when you have met the requirements of the vote in accordance with the rules of procedure. This can either be needing to cast all, or only some of your votes. A confirmation message that your vote has been submitted will appear. You are unable to change your vote once it is confirmed. When the vote is closed, if it was a public vote, the results will appear and you can see the overall results of the vote, plus how your delegation voted. It won't be the case for secret votes. For motions requiring a simple majority, the vote is carried with more than 50% of the votes cast in favor. For motions requiring a 2/3 majority, the vote is carried with 2/3 or more of votes cast in favor.
Okay, we are ready to go. Thank you, delegations, for logging in. The motion is moved for consideration of the Regional Triennial Plan 2022-2025. The motion is moved, the Regional Triennial Plan 2022-2025. I ask the voting team to confirm if the vote is ready. Conference, I have confirmation the vote will be open for 3 minutes. The voting team can now open the vote. Conference, the vote is open. With the vote open, delegations can proceed to vote. Just a few minutes, the vote is being restarted. Apparently, Ethiopia needs help. Can I have somebody with them immediately? Can I have somebody at Ethiopia? Conference, the vote is open. Let's proceed and vote. You can see already 14 have voted. 17 have voted, 20 and climbing. Continue voting. We have 28, 29. Thirty-six NSOs have cast their vote. We have 37 who have cast their vote. Anyone still intending to vote who has not voted? We intend to close the vote early. Is there anybody else who is intending to vote? Please raise your country card if you're intending to vote or in the process of voting and you've not voted. Okay. I now ask the voting team to close the vote. Just a minute, voting team. Okay. It's closed. Okay. Conference, with 222 votes in favor, 0 votes against, and 0 votes in abstention, the motion is carried. We now have work to do. Thank you all for your active participation and for your voting. If you did not get to participate in this vote, our apologies. We'll make sure you're ready for the next one. We have now come to the end of our first plenary session, and we'll now take a 15 minutes coffee break because we are running a little bit behind time. We want to catch up with the next session. So please, it is now 10:58. Let us strive to be here within plenary, seated and waiting for the next session at 11:15. Thank you so much. See you after coffee.